boy lay motionless on the cold marble floor of the Morrison estate in Los Altos Hills. His eyes were shut tight. His small body trembling in shock. Beside him knelt Dave Kellerman, the family's plumber and electrician, his hands shaking as he held something tiny, pitch black and moving. "Dave, what did you do to the boy?" Marcus Webb, head of the estate security team, shouted, his eyes wide, body frozen stiff. The sharp sound of leather shoes echoed down the gleaming hallway. Alexandra Morrison, the youngest tech CEO in the world according to Forbes, stormed into the room like a hurricane. Her face was pale, and in those cold blue eyes for the first time there was unmistakable fear. "What happened to my son?" she cried, voice trembling. Leo Dave looked up, eyes glistening with tears. "I didn't hurt him, Miss Morrison," he stammered hoarsely. "I swear I was only trying to help." "Alexandra," screamed her voice thundering through the vast room. "You touched my son. You dared to lay a hand on him without my permission." Slowly, Dave opened his rough, calloused palm. Resting inside was something strange, black, wet, glistening under the chandelier's light. Everyone in the room instinctively stepped back, faces drained of color. The air thickened, silence heavy, suffocating. Then a faint sound broke through it. "Mom," that voice, it came from the boy who had been deaf since birth, the boy who had never spoken a single word in 10 years. In that instant, no one dared move, not even Alexandra Morrison. And that was when she realized the maintenance man had just done the impossible. Dear viewers, this is a moving story about faith, compassion, and a miracle that no amount of money can buy. A story that unfolds in the heart of Silicon Valley, a place that believes technology can solve everything until it meets what machines can never heal. If you still believe miracles exist in this world, hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell, so each week we can explore stories that make your heart believe again. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what happens next will touch your heart and remind you sometimes the greatest healing comes from the people we least expect. The Morrison estate was more than just a house. It was a declaration of power perched atop the hills of Los Altos. Its living room windows offered a sweeping view of Silicon Valley, from Google's headquarters to Stanford's campus, from San Francisco's towers to the shimmering surface of the bay. At sunset, the home was wrapped in floor-to-ceiling reinforced glass, run by an advanced AI system with its own private gym, an infinity pool, and a wine cellar worth millions of dollars. And yet, no matter how luxurious it was inside, remained an emptiness, a void that no Persian carpet, no priceless painting could ever conceal. The servants moved like ghosts, so careful they made no sound. They often whispered among themselves, "The lady of this house loves perfection. No mistakes, no noise, and no emotion." Alexandra Morrison, 32 years old, CEO of Neurotech, a medical tech startup valued at $4.7 billion. She dropped out of Stanford in her second year to build an AI system capable of diagnosing faster and more accurately than any human doctor. Forbes called her the female Elon Musk of healthcare. TechCrunch described her as a genius without emotion. Her life was a string of flawless milestones. Graduated high school at 16, entered Stanford on a full scholarship, founded her company at 19, became a billionaire before turning 30. Her schedule was timed down to the minute, meeting after meeting, contract after contract, success but solitude, because behind those Armani suits and that icy composure was a mother who hadn't slept peacefully in years. Her only son, Leo Morrison, 10 years old, was born deaf, not the ordinary kind of deafness doctors called it profound sensorineural hearing loss. The sound reached his ears, but his brain received nothing. No hearing aid could help. No cochlear implant had ever succeeded. Alexandra had flown across the world. Johns Hopkins Mayo Clinic, Great Ormond Street in London, Charité in Berlin. She had spent millions of dollars hiring the best experts in the world. She even built a private lab within her own company, employing neuroscientists to study Leo's case. But each time she returned home, she was greeted by the same thing: absolute silence. Leo was now 10. He had never heard the sound of rain, never listened to ocean waves, and had never once heard his mother's voice. He had never spoken a single word. He lived in a world of his own, a world. Without sound, he would sit for hours by the window watching Teslas glide down the road, drones humming across the sky, the world moving while he remained trapped in silence. Sometimes Leo pressed his ear against the glass, hoping the vibrations might turn into sound, but they never did. All the household staff were required to learn sign language to communicate with him, but most did so half-heartedly. Some pitied him, some feared him, and most simply ignored him, because in a world that demanded speed, precision, and efficiency, a child who moved slowly and spoke with his hands was a system error no one wanted to face. But there was one man who saw the boy differently. His name was David Kellerman. Everyone in the house simply called him Dave Keller. Man 38 didn't belong to this world. He wasn't the Silicon Valley type, the kind who brainstormed over oat milk lattes and turned every idea into a $1 million pitch. Dave came from the Central Valley, a farming region just a few hours' drive away, a place where people worked with their hands under a blistering sun on parched fields. There, the word startup meant firing up a tractor, not launching a tech company. He'd grown up in a farmer's family working the fields since he was 12. But Dave didn't want to spend his whole life chained to cracked soil. He passed the paramedic training program and spent 6 years on the Fresno County Rescue Team. It was a brutal job. 24-hour shifts, horrific highway crashes, midnight overdoses, and emergency calls that came too late. But Dave loved it. He loved the feeling of saving someone in their darkest moment. Then he met Rachel. She was a nurse at St. Agnes Hospital. She had the brightest smile he'd ever seen, the kind that could light up an entire room. Patients used to say the best medicine was seeing Rachel smile in the morning. They married after a year of dating, a small, simple wedding at a Fresno church. Nothing glamorous, but full of love. A year later, they had Ethan Kellerman, the boy with his mother's brown eyes and her warm, gentle smile. Dave still remembered the moment he first held his son, so tiny, warm and perfect that he swore he'd protect him at all costs. But life doesn't always let you keep your promises. October 2017. Rachel went to Las Vegas with some old friends to celebrate a birthday, a harmless weekend trip. Dave stayed home taking care of Ethan, who was 4 at the time, on the night of October 1st. As Dave was feeding his son dinner, the phone rang. An unknown number, he answered. "Is this David Kellerman?" The woman's voice trembled. "Yes, speaking. Are you the husband of Rachel Kellerman? What's going on? You need to come to Las Vegas immediately. The Route 91 Harvest shooting. The deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. 58 dead, over 850 injured. And Rachel Kellerman was among those who never came home." Dave still remembered that overnight drive to Las Vegas. Ethan asleep in the back seat. He remembered the hospital's cold hallway, the white sheet over the familiar body, the small hand gripping his pants, and the trembling voice asking, "Daddy, where's Mommy?" After that, everything fell apart. Dave couldn't keep working as a paramedic. The sound of ambulance sirens made him panic. The smell of antiseptic made him sick. He quit, used the insurance payout and charity funds to arrange Rachel's funeral, then moved to California, hoping for a new beginning. But new beginnings aren't easy, not when you're a single father. With no advanced degree, no connections, and a past too painful to explain in any job interview. Dave took whatever work he could find: security guard, Uber driver, food delivery. Eventually, he landed a stable job, maintenance technician for a luxury property management company. It wasn't glamorous, but it was steady, and it came with health insurance for Ethan. The most important thing, one of the sites under his care, was the Morrison estate. Dave had worked there for 6 months before everything happened. He fixed air conditioners, replaced light bulbs, checked